was a category I never even would have guessed existed, and it's called John is Pathetic. A typical John is Pathetic gag works like this. And maybe you've noticed the runtime for this video and are asking, how could I possibly spend this much time on an idea that the subtle lowering of my father's eyebrows as I explained it to him communicated to me was something he considered a profound waste of time. Oh god, I was meant to make a video about Berserk this year. I got lost. Lost in Garfield. God, I hope it's worth it.
So, I want to be honest here, in that unlike the other fandoms I've covered for this channel, I've never really been that into Garfield. That's not to say I dislike Garfield, it's just, no, I'm not doing this. I do not need to humiliate myself for your amusement.
And what I mean by this is that we all want to be Garfield. Please don't click off the video, I promise I have a point to make here. I decided that reading 14,000 Garfield comics was not a realistic goal. I know some of you will consider this a failure. I am sorry. What I'm about to tell you is not a joke. This is not some Space Jam 2-esque hijinks. This all happened over the course of making this video, an experience I call the Garfield phenomenon. It began in small ways. At first, I'd be watching a TV show and, oh, hey, there was Garfield. I was now doing whatever I could not to think about Garfield, and I agreed to watch the first episode of the new Dexter with my partner and...
Wow, yeah, I can only imagine. Brian wants to call him Garfield. I mean, who names a dog after
What the fuck? What the fuck did he just say?
Calm down.
When I think back to the very worst periods of my life, what comes to me is this feeling of being trapped in my own mind, that there is something in me that is distorting how I see the world and the people around me and everything, and it's horrible. It's a nightmare. And I think the hardest part of it is the feeling that it's never going to end, that the way you feel in those moments is how you will feel for the rest of your life. And if you've ever struggled mentally or emotionally, you know that fear. And it is that fear that I've never seen visualized better than in fucking Garfield fan art. We all want to be Garfield, but we all are John Arbuckle. And the thing is, those bad times, they do never last. They do end. And I think that's why I find this final piece so hopeful. Oh, I put the costume back on because I was worried that this part might be too heavy without it, and also I paid a lot of money for it.
Which we can see in one particularly powerful scene when she gets shit thrown on her face. I don't know what I'm doing. I can remember the first time I read this and thinking, wow, that was fucking bullshit. The fucking baseball kid, the little fucking baseball ghost child beats Hyper Jesus with clouds? To the point that the first volume is literally just one lady refusing to speak to another in public, yet somehow feels even more intense than the rage-filled shouting contest I got into at my local grocery store when I thought a large man with a bicycle tattoo on his calf tried to skip me. And trust me, that got very intense.
Hi, welcome to the correction zone, where I pay for things I got wrong 4 years ago. In one of my previous videos, I claimed that this is a manga Miura drew when he was like 10 years old. The point being, wow, Miura is such a naturally gifted art genius. But this is both factually and conceptually wrong. See, this was the actual manga Miura drew when he was 10, which, not to shit on the work of a literal child, is less impressive. But I also feel like the wider point I was trying to make about Miura just being this crazy genius is wrong too, because I think it devalues the work Miura put into just drawing and getting better at it. There's a huge increase in the standard of Miura's art over the course of Berserk's run, and it's that drive to improve, to get better at something, that's the quality that connects Guts and Miura. Also, I'm wearing the Garfield costume again because this is my penance for getting something wrong. Check your sources, everybody. Don't be like me. Hello, it's the correction zone again. In a previous video, I said how I don't think the action in Berserk had strategy to it, and in hindsight, that is silly and wrong, especially after the halfway point. Take the fight between Serpico and Guts, when Serpico fights Guts on the side of a hill in order to stop Guts using his gigantic sword, meaning that Guts has to fight with bombs. It is a fight layered with strategy, and it is great. I think I only said that because I thought back then that if you said something good about something, you have to say something bad to balance it out in order to come across as like objective or like fair, and I don't care about being those things anymore. Also, this is kind of separate, but I think in that first Berserk video, I was really unfair to the director of that series, and in hindsight, that was a really shitty thing to do, because I don't know what happens on that production. I don't know that it was his fault. So yeah, I feel like I should say that.
And I just want to say that I talked about this panel before, and someone in the comments said that these weren't bandages, that they were the imprints of Guts' armor, and it got a bunch of likes. And I just want to say that is wrong. Here is what Guts looks like without bandages from earlier in the same chapter. And if you think it's petty of me to pause this video to win a random internet argument from 4 years ago, it is.
I also remember thinking, I hope this film isn't too long because my stomach feels weird and I need to go to the bathroom. But what I had failed to take into account was that this was not a screening of the film Berserk Golden Age Arc Movie 1 Egg of the King, which clocked in at a reasonable 77 minutes. This was a screening of both Berserk Golden Age Arc Movie 1 Egg of the King, as well as Berserk Golden Age Arc Movie 2 Battle of Doldry, which combined for a total of 2 hours and 55 minutes. 40 minutes in, my stomach began to cramp. 70 minutes in, my forehead grew slick with sweat. 2 hours in, I feared that explosive public humiliation loomed, and yet I could not look away. When the lights finally did fill that cinema screen, I sprinted from its doors with the kinetic fury of a world-class greyhound being gunshot loosed from its pen. And as I sat there in the Lighthouse Cinema Dublin's unisex bathroom, my body draining itself of impurity, I realized there was something new in this world that I loved. and your friend Sydney kind of won't shut up about it, even though she knows that HBO Max isn't available in your region and you can't watch it, and it starts to feel a bit passive aggressive, and it's like, Jesus Christ, Sydney, if you just filled the void in your life with anything other than television shows, then maybe Mark wouldn't have left you. To avoid friendship obliterating scenarios like this one, I like to use Nathan Fielder. As a socially inept man in my 30s, I like to think I can recognize my own.
I then watched as Fear and Hunger destroyed my entire life. When I am playing newer releases, I think about this game. When I'm trying to select dinner at the supermarket, I think about this game. When my wife tries to tell me that the amount I think about this game is affecting our marriage, I think about this game. I hate this game, and I love it. Hey, I just want to say that because I have validation issues and seek approval through unreasonable means, I play the game on the harder terror and starvation difficulty. And if you want the experience I'm about to spend the rest of this video describing, I advise you do the same. Well, it didn't matter. What matters is I was now free. My life was mine again to enjoy the sun and the grass and the supermarket. Maybe if I cook a delicious enough meal, my wife will come back. No, I don't want to go back. No. I began a new playthrough of Fear and Hunger. And the class I picked was the Dark Priest. Oh, God damn it. I sat upon the throne of ascension. I had done it. I had beaten Fear and Hunger. And I knew this was it. This was the game's final boss. And beyond it lay freedom. And so, with the knowledge of everything I had lost, every death that had come before me, I stepped forward and faced this impossible god in a primordial battle that would determine both our fate. That is why I love pro wrestling. The story we're going to talk about today being maybe my favorite example of this. A story that I love so much that I will talk about it at parties till my friends start to back away from me and refuse to look me in the eye. And maybe that's you. Maybe you look at the length of this video and think, wow, that is an utterly clownish amount of time for an adult to spend talking about pro wrestling. You've got me there. Him even wearing Bloodline merch, which was just so hilarious and pathetic. I wrote that line before remembering that I own a pair of Roman Reigns socks. Okay, number two, and like a actual number two, like on the main list, not the wrestling list, which is over. Nah, I shouldn't have done that. You want to know one of my favorite memories from over the holidays? Getting to eat lots of food? Yeah. Watching season 1 of The Wire with my parents? Hell yeah. Hanging out with my tiny dog Montgomery? No, Mont, no, you're a tiny coward, Mont, and I will never accept you as a part of this family. Now, Bert, there is a man who has his life together. Nostradamus wasn't even that good at astrology. Other mid-century French astrologers used to talk shit about him for being bad at astrology. Nostradamus? More like Nostradamus. And there it was, the best joke I'd ever make. Wasted on a 500-year-old dead star wizard. Tricking you into a varied full-body exercise routine, all while monitoring your form and reps for the best possible results. Do you sometimes look like a tit doing it? Absolutely.
Hi! So to begin today's video, I thought we'd start by going through the entirety of my internet search history, followed by all my passwords and login information. Now to begin, we can see here that around May 7th, I think that was the release of Resident Evil 8, I become suspiciously interested in Googling tall women.
So your personal information is protected from nefarious outside sources, saving you from public, personal and professional humiliation, which should always be your biggest concern. I also watched Miss Nagatoro, and look, not every recommendation has to be this big fucking deep dive into why I like the things I like. Do you like Mean Girlfriend anime? Well then you'll probably like this. No? Well then I don't know, fucking move on. There's nothing for you here. I'm not your dad, I can't tell you what to do. Hello, do you like it when girls are mean to you? I don't know, that's your business. I'm just here to talk about my fake anime, which I pretend is real through t-shirts. I love you. Okay, video start. Oh, also, I'm gonna reuse that fake video game segue in the next video because I originally wrote it for that and it works way better there, and you all have to pretend like it's your first time seeing it. Okay, video start. Fujimoto being quite open about just enjoying dominant women. Wow, what a strange man. I would not like to be like him. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so I have definitely just lost at least a couple of you, but I promise this goes somewhere meaningful and healthy. But unfortunately, I made a promise to myself a long time ago that I was never going to become one of those men on the internet trying to explain why his boob anime is actually super deep. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Anyway, let's look at how Chainsaw Man uses its supporting characters to— No, take that banner down, take that fucking banner down. No, I don't wanna do this, I don't wanna do this. Don't cut to a title card, don't cut to a title card.
And I love these things. Seriously, I own like 3 of them, and I mainly use them to write about my feelings at night because it helps me sleep. And this isn't even a sponsorship. I just think these things are really— I should have made this a sponsorship.
With only a slightly higher attack stat than average and lacking both the magic of Kumatora and the debuffs of Duster. Okay, look, I accidentally deleted the aura in Duster when I was entering his name in the name entry screen, and by the time I noticed it, it was too late, and I'm not going back and recording the footage, so can we just not be too mean about it in the comments? Okay, thank you. Alongside his dog Boney, Kumatora, and Duster, fuck it!
Hi, it's me again. So we're about to enter major spoiler territory, and so you can skip to here if you want to avoid. But I just want to say, I don't think you knowing what's going to happen in Mother 3 is really going to affect your enjoyment of the game. It's just not that kind of experience. But hey, listen, you do you, buddy. Okay, I'm gonna go. Actually, you know, it felt really weird and stilted being like, I'm gonna go and just exiting the frame like that. So, I appreciate you watching the video. Hope you've enjoyed it up until this point. There's a really weird meta bit that I'm pretty proud of coming up, and no, you know what? This feels weird and awkward, and it's like I don't really know how to end this segment, and the longer it goes on, the stranger and worse it feels, and oh my god, it just keeps going. John, when you're editing this, please don't use this footage. It just makes me look like a rambling crazy person.
Much like explaining to your accountant that the wizard costume you bought is tax deductible, fake video games can be a little hard to understand at first. You go to the shop to buy some eggs because omelets don't have a lot of calories, but the credit card machine isn't working, and the shop assistant says that you can just pay in cash, and you tell them that you don't have any cash, and then you both just stare at each other for the longest 5 seconds of your entire life, and you clarify that you do have cash. It's just that
it's just in the ATM. So you walk to the back of the shop, but for some reason the ATM says your credit card isn't activated, and you don't know what that means. And so you turn around and you just start walking out of the shop, but as you do, your gaze once again collides into the vacant, distant stare of the shop assistant. And you're still walking, but now you're both just staring at each other, and it feels weird. And then you just feel the words crawl out of your mouth. See you later. And the confused, empty look on the shop assistant's face haunts you the entire rest of the day. Until it's 3 a.m. and you're awake on the shitter, clutching your phone because you drank too much fucking coffee. And one of these animations floats onto screen, and for a moment, it's like, yeah, that please. I would like to go back to that. I would really like that. Each episode sprinkled with stories from our personal lives, like the time I ended up at a strip club and all the dancers made fun of me. That was 3 months ago. I have not recovered. God, I need to go back to therapy. Humiliation in modern parlance usually means extreme embarrassment, or like that time my accountant looked up my Muramasa and the Demon Blade Kongiku figure before stating in cold monotone, "I don't think this is tax deductible." And the Stanford prison experiment has widely been proven to be about as legitimate as my marriage to Rouge the Bat. My therapist has told me that I need to stop processing trauma through YouTube videos. Well, Irene, looks like you lose again. No, I'm not a furry. Wolf is just my YouTube icon because I think wolves are cool. But yeah, if people want to dress up in fursuits and that makes them happy, I really don't see a problem with that. You know? Wait, what's that? Well, yeah, an unusual amount of media. I do like features anthropomorphic characters, but I really don't think that counts for, I'm sorry, Renamon. This interview is over!